There comes a point where you have to decide whether you're going to stay loyal to your assignment or keep betraying yourself to maintain access, approval, or false peace. A lot of people do not actually have a problem with your existence. They have a problem with your alignment. They have a problem with what happens when you stop being easily manipulated by guilt. They have a problem with what happens when you stop second guessing what your spirit has already made clear. They have a problem with what happens when you stop volunteering for confusion just to keep other people from feeling exposed. As long as you're doubting yourself, other people can keep controlling the narrative. As long as you're over-explaining, overextending, and over-identifying with being the one who keeps the peace, they can keep using your nature against you. They can keep asking you to carry what does not belong to you. They can keep positioning you as the one who has to be more understanding, more patient, more quiet, more forgiving, more flexible, while everyone else remains unexamined and unchanged. That is how misalignment becomes normalized. It does not always look dramatic in the beginning. Sometimes it looks like constantly editing yourself in rooms where the truth is simply not welcome. Sometimes it looks like shrinking your instincts to make other people comfortable. Sometimes it looks like feeling the check in your spirit and overriding it because you do not want to seem difficult, unkind, dramatic, or hard to deal with. Sometimes it looks like knowing something is off, but talking yourself out of your own discernment because people around you have trained you to distrust what you know. That is not peace. That is conditioning. A lot of people were taught to abandon themselves and call it love. They were taught to absorb disrespect and call it maturity. They were taught to endure confusion and call it loyalty. They were taught to keep showing up for places that keep cutting them and call it strength. But there is nothing noble about becoming a sacrifice for people who refuse to confront themselves. Some systems survive by selecting one person to absorb the tension, one person to hold the blame, one person to carry the projection, one person to be misunderstood so everybody else can stay comfortable in denial. Every toxic family does it. Every manipulative group does it. Every dysfunctional environment has a way of assigning someone the role of container. The one who feels it, the one who sees it, the one who says what others are trying to avoid. And the moment that person stops participating in their own distortion, the system reacts. Because the person isn't wrong. They're just no longer useful to the lie. That's why staying in your alignment with your assignment matters so much. Because once you know what you're here to do, you cannot keep shrinking and spending your life negotiating with environments that require your self-betrayal as an entry fee. Once you know what your spirit has made plain, you cannot keep pretending not to know just because the truth disrupts people who are benefiting from your silence. And this is where many people get pulled off course. It's not always a direct attack. Sometimes it's through emotional pressure. Sometimes it's through guilt. Sometimes through being misrepresented. Sometimes through being framed as cold, arrogant, difficult, or selfish. The moment they stop overfunctioning for everybody else. Sometimes through being made to feel that choosing themselves is somehow an act of violence against others. But choosing alignment is not betrayal. Refusing to be used is not cruelty. Setting boundaries around your peace is not pride. And declining roles that were built around your suffering is not a character flaw. Some people will absolutely try to turn you into the sacrifice, the scapegoat, the villain, the problem, the unstable one, the ungrateful one, the one who changed, the one who thinks they are better, the one who cannot just let things go. But look closely. A lot of those accusations are not truth. They are pressure tactics. They are attempts to make you abandon your assignment so the old order can remain intact. Because if they can get you focused on defending yourself, they can distract you from what matters. If they can get you trapped in circular explanations, they can drain your energy. If they can get you emotional enough to step out of position, they can then point to your reaction as proof that you were the problem all along. That is why discernment matters. Not every invitation deserves a response. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Not every person deserves access to your internal world. Some people are not asking questions because they want clarity. They are asking questions because they want access, leverage, or a way back into your energy. You have to know the difference. You have to know when a conversation is actually a setup. You have to know when concern is really surveillance. You have to know when confusion is being performed to keep you explaining yourself past the point of dignity. You have to know when you are being baited into abandoning your own center. Because once you are clear on your assignment, your responsibility is not to keep proving your innocence to people committed to misunderstanding you. Your responsibility is to stay in position. That means protecting your energy, protecting your mind, protecting your time, protecting your spiritual clarity, protecting your nervous system from environments that thrive on chaos, protecting your purpose from people who only liked you when you were easier to interrupt, easier to guilt, easier to access, and easier to blame. Not everybody who loses access to you is losing something pure. Some are losing convenience. Some are losing control. Some are losing the version of you that accepted crumbs, mixed signals, and emotional exploitation. Some are losing the version of you that kept making excuses for what your spirit has already warned you about. Let them lose that version. You cannot carry your assignment and everybody else's dysfunction at the same time. You cannot. You cannot walk in clarity while making constant compromises with confusion and chaos. You cannot honor what is on your life while continually returning to places that require you to fracture yourself to belong. There comes a time when staying aligned will cost you proximity. It will cost you certain relationships. It may cost you certain illusions. It may cost you the fantasy that if you just explain yourself better, love harder, stay softer, or make yourself smaller, people will finally do right by you. But the cost of misalignment is always greater. Misalignment costs you peace. It costs you confidence. It costs you energy. It costs you years. It costs you your voice. It costs you your ability to trust what you know. That price is too high. So no, do not let other people sacrifice you to protect their image, their comfort, their dysfunction, or their structures that should have collapsed a long time ago. Do not keep stepping onto altars you were never meant to die on. Do not let guilt dress itself as morality. Do not let pressure make you betray the very clarity you prayed for. Stay in alignment with your assignment. Stay with what your spirit already confirmed. Stay out of arguments that were designed to disorganize you. Stay out of roles that require your diminishment. Stay clear enough to recognize when you are being invited back into confusion. and stay grounded enough to let what falls fall. Your assignment is too sacred to keep handing it over to people who need your silence, your suffering, and your distortion in order to survive.